So, thank you everyone for joining me today. I'm pleased to announce I have developed the newest form of crypto mining.
Oh, tell us more.
We're all going to be very comfortable.
I'm very excited to hear all about this.
Okay, so first of all, if you could just press the big button there to start the machine.
Bing.
Now that just starts up the generator, and if you just want to turn on the blades here, click. Okay, now if you could just open the back of the van. Excellent. And then if we just feed off, I think we'll start with Bezos, just into the chipper
Oh,
there.
I see. This is what powers it. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, have a gate next.
Oh, why not? Finally, a sustainable form of cryptocurrency.
And no technical equipment had to die for its sins.
My SSD is safe.
Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I've got apparently something going on with my voice. I think I had too much citrus just before I said that, and it did.
Who are you?
That's a turn of question, isn't it? Well, I'm not Laura Kate Dale.
And I'm not Jane Eyre's Magnet, and welcome to another episode of Queer and Pleasant Strangers. It's a podcast, two queer trans ladies. We talk about the media we have consumed in the week and do skits and silly voices and
Assuming we can get
answer
the sounds
questions
out.
and whatnot. Yeah, if our voices are playing ball on a particular given day.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we jump right into the things we've played this week?
Tell us what you played.
What have I played? We played It Takes Two together.
It Takes Two, baby.
It Takes Two, baby.
Me and you, and a horrible book.
Horrible thrusting magic sex book. Yeah, so this is a game by this is from the guy who made Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. He did A Way Out. This is from a developer who likes to make two-player co-op games, and I've enjoyed his stuff in the past. He's made good things. This is a co-op game about being a pair of parents who've decided, hey, our relationship's not working out. We're going to make the reasonable, sensible decision to get divorced. And their kid overhears them and goes, not fucking having that. I'm going to cry on a magic book. And they get transformed into little toys and have to go on a adventure to get turned back to normal and probably, probably not get divorced afterwards. There's a magic book who's like, no, you're not allowed to get divorced. I'm going to have to make you fall in love again, because you're not allowed to choose to divorce.
Yeah, and considering that the whole thing seems to be, don't upset your child, you've upset your child, you have to not do that now. Blah, blah, blah. Like, there are several points when the actions of the book actively hurt the child.
Yes, yeah, so the book's whole thing is like, no, I can't let you divorce because that's going to upset your child. But then the book deliberately stops them from transforming back, even though it knows that, like, hey, this child is going through actual emotional neglect because, like, a little bit early-ish spoiler talk, the parents, while they're having this adventure as the little dolls, their bodies are just comatose
Just
in
sort
the
of
house.
catatonic.
Yeah, so, like, the daughter keeps going up to them and, like, trying to emotionally connect with her parents who've just told her that they're gonna get divorced.
And now they're just
ignoring her, and she's building up this paranoia that she's the reason they got divorced, and, like, the book is actively fucking up this kid.
You're making it worse.
Yeah, and the game's narrative has, like, no wiggle room for, like, hey, maybe divorce is the right thing for this particular couple. Maybe they've thought it through, maybe this is right for them. No, divorce is bad, don't do it, magic's gonna stop you. So, like, plot-wise, the overall plot conceit's a bit, yeah, But, like, I enjoyed the characterization of the two main characters. I very much enjoyed the creative co-op interactions that you can have as your two players. I thought that there was a good variety of, like, environments and set pieces and narrative elements. I particularly enjoyed the bit inside the tree with the squirrel people. Some segments of the game feel like they go on a little longer than they maybe need to, but it's a fun co-op game.
Yeah, I mean, like I enjoy like the set design for it. I've enjoyed some of the puzzles. I've enjoyed the mini games. My main issue is just the plot as a whole. Like, there are so many problems with the plot of this game.
Yeah. You've got to go into this knowing it's a game about, like, okay, this game's been out a little while. I don't feel this is the kind of game that I think that even if you know spoilers, I don't think it's going to negatively impact your experience of playing this game. And if anything, you should skip ahead a minute if you care about spoilers in this. But, like, there's a whole plot point about, like, hey, our daughter's tears turned us into these dolls. Maybe her tears will turn us back to being humans. I know. Let's go find the cuddly toy elephant she's had since, like, infancy, her best friend in the whole world, and destroy it to make our daughter cry so we can, like, dance in her tears.
So not only is the book awful, they're awful.
Yeah, these parents should get divorced.
The only one that's any good in this story is Moon Baboon.
Moon Baboon is good. Moon Baboon has this child's best interests at heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's... As long as you go into this, like, not expecting this to be in any way a story about good people and can enjoy the character work outside of the actual plot, it's a fun, creative co-op game. I am glad... I hope we get more like this from this person, but this plot was a bit of a swing and a miss for me.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? What have you played this week?
Me? Oh, I played some Destroy All Humans, One Giant Step on Mankind.
Ooh, tell me how that's gone.
I'm better at it than it was when it first came out, or the original version came out. I remember getting it for the PS2 and going, I really like the idea of this, and destroying it, and it's got the Zim voice for Orthopox, and that's gonna be fun. I'm really bad at this, and I can't get more than 3 levels into it. And I die all the time, and that's making me really not enjoy the game, so I will have to just sell it. Firstly, I wouldn't spend money on this game.
Yeah, did you get this through, like,
I got
Epic
this
Store or
through,
something, or a bundle?
Game Pass.
It was on Game Pass.
It's
cool.
on Game Pass. Yeah, don't give 2 THQ money.
Yeah,
it's definitely racist. It's definitely at least misogynistic.
There's a lot of very poorly aged, early 2000s quote unquote humor in it.
Yeah, there's a don't ask, don't tell joke in there.
Yeah.
Yup.
Yeah.
There's some other fairly casual homophobia. The big reveal that the person that's been pulling the strings all the way through is a woman. And then lots of people being like, he, I mean she, blah, 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 blah. It's like, oh, well, that just rubs me the wrong way in several ways.
A little bit.
Please no. Didn't enjoy it. Got to the last boss, which is considerably better than I'd ever done before. Wasn't having fun. Because again, difficulty spike.
Yeah.
Like, I've got most of the way through the, what do you call it? That final boss.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell, like, how far through it you are, and it's like, oh, okay, I can't get through this last bit. And it's always the very last section. It's like, yeah, I get you wanted to spike the difficulty for the end, but no.
Yeah.
What about you? Have you played anything else?
I've been playing more Train Simulator because, of course, I have. Uh, you're watching me scroll.
Oh, you're scrolling.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the name of a particular track that I was playing, and I'm trying to...
That's all the ones you own.
No, this is all the ones that are available for the game,
Oh.
because this seemed the quickest way for me to just, like, do a word search and be like, it's...
I mean, you can just check on your store page.
I don't know how to check DLC. I have, and I'm doing this now, so I'm going to do the search. The search button, will it tell me? It's not the Forest of Rail one. It's the Train Simulator Wakayama and Sakurai Lines route add-on. So this is a Japanese train line it's very similar to that video that I was really enjoying before, where it's like lots of going very close behind houses, where there's little houses sort of close on either side of the track, and then you get into little sections of here's just greenery and nice views, and then you're back in between houses. It's a lovely little route. It's about half an hour long. It's an overhead electrically powered train line. You literally cannot go above about 50 miles an hour on this train, maybe 65 kilometers an hour. That is as fast as this train goes, which is nice because it means that no matter how much you push that throttle on, you're not going to rush through the content too quickly. And my favourite thing about this little piece of DLC is that depending on what season you play the DLC in, different kinds of leaves are on the trees and will blow off of the trees. So if you play it in spring, you get to watch the sakura petals sort of floating across the tracks in front of you as the train goes through them. And
Wait. You can have petals on the line.
yes, and the train doesn't have to stop all services.
That sounds fake.
I know it does sound fake, right?
I live in the UK and I happen to know that even the suggestion of a leaf.
Yeah. You're looking confused.
I thought I saw Midlands Parkway.
You did? I was doing this. I was playing Train Simulator on stream the day before we record this podcast, and the lovely Phoenix, love you, was like, "Can you do the journey that goes in the direction of when you're coming to see me?" I was like, I went and had a look, and I was like, they do have an East Midlands Parkway journey route add-on that will do that thing. So I'm probably going to be streaming that on Friday.
So that's East Midlands Parkway to
London,
Derby to Nottingham.
There's Derby
Leicester.
it's Leicester to Derby and Nottingham, but it also includes the East Midland Parkway route from St Pancras, King's Cross, St Pancras.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So we can do the stretch of train that we sometimes do.
Yeah. Do we not have to get off at East Midlands Parkway and get on the megabus instead?
Exactly. Just stop and play like Bus Simulator for a bit. So yeah, I'm continuing to really enjoy Train Simulator as just as my I don't feel up to playing anything else. I will play this game. It's good comfort gaming. What about you? What have you played this week?
I played some Children of Mortar.
Tell me about Children of Mortar.
It's a roguelike game that desperately wants to tell you its plot at every possible opportunity. And it really wants you to look at its huge sweeping landscapes. Like, don't get me wrong, the pixel art's beautiful. Yeah. The zoomed out art is also beautiful. The story is fairly interesting, but the fact that, like, hey, we want to tell you some story. Here's a very slow pan in to the house. Now we're inside the house. Now we're going to have quite a slow conversation. And literally, like, every time you die, it's like, okay, we're going to tell you a bunch more story now. It's like, yeah, I'm not very good at this yet. I was hoping to just jump in and do a bit more, you know, start getting a bit of a flow going with things. No, we've got a story. There's a dog now. Oh, the dog needs mushrooms. Okay, I'll pop back in and grab some mushrooms. Cool. And there's this story about Kevin. Kevin wants to wield a blade. Cool. Oh no, Kevin's run away. Oh, sure. Oh, Kevin's back. I'm glad Kevin's fine.
There are ways to intersperse narrative into a roguelike. Like Hades, I think, is a really good example of one that, like, does it really well in that it's not excessive amounts, and then in between runs you can just go, I want to get back into it, I'll do the story in between next run.
I feel like you can get a longer run in Hades much more easily than you can in Children of Mortar. which is why I think Hades felt less intrusive.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, there are a few times at the beginning it's like, oh, for God's sake, I don't want to talk to everyone, but I feel like I have to.
But once you've played a little bit of it, it's like, yeah, I'll probably be like, 30, 40 minutes before I'm done back out and see some story again. Yeah.
Yeah, like even before that, it's like sort of up to 20 minutes. It is not an unusual run.
Yeah, but Children of Mortar, on the other hand.
It's like, no. I mean, oh, you were out 7 minutes. Back you come. Okay. I mean, I'm bad at this. Except I'm bad at this. But especially when you're, the first person you get is a sword wielder.
Yeah.
Oh, and also there's, a whole tutorial section. So you've got that interspersed with more plot. So you're not even playing the full game before that.
Yeah.
And then occasionally you'll get oh, you've defeated the whole dungeon. That was a 20-minute run.
Yeah.
You defeated the whole dungeon, back to the house. You've got more plot to see.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the combat feels pretty nice. I'm mostly playing as the person with the bow and arrow. Enjoying that, enjoying the level up system, enjoying that if you level up to certain key points, a character will have something that will carry over to the rest of the family.
Yeah.
So it's worth leveling up everyone to at least level 4 just to make sure that you've got whatever their first bonus is to give to the whole family.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall it's a bit oh God, please stop. Let me just get in. Just get him again. Come on. It's alright. It's another one on Game Pass. I'm not too bothered.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? Played anything else?
We finished playing through Wind Waker HD together.
Good.
I very much like that port of Wind Waker. Wind Waker continues to be a very good game, and the HD Wii U port is a very nice port of it. The Triforce quest in particular, much smoother to do now than it was to do originally. Considerably more. Oh, I need 400 rupees for this map. Where the fuck am I going to find more rupees? I've got all the rupees I know about already. A lot less of that.
Yeah, also, I feel like there are more purple rupees in the world.
Yeah, there's less, I found the thing, oh no, that's only a map now, I need to go actually find the object. There's a lot more just, the thing is here, more directly. Don't worry about, stepping stones on the way to it, which helps.
I feel like Wind Waker HD is probably the one that I might consider just sitting down with one day and doing a full 100% playthrough of.
Yes, agreed.
Maybe not the Nintendo Museum, but everything else.
It is a much more... They haven't made huge sweeping changes, but the changes they've made all feel very respectful of your time as a player.
Absolutely, 100%. It feels so many quality of life updates in that game.
Yeah. All just to be hey, let's just polish off the little rough edges on an otherwise very good game.
Yeah. It's already a game that I'm more than willing to come back to every couple of years and just, have a fun playthrough.
Yeah.
Make the joke about Ganondorf being about to get the facial piercing of his life every time. Yeah. But, it's delightful, but, this one was almost over before I thought about it.
Yeah, this particular Zelda game has a very, sudden pacing curve, because you do, the first 3 dungeons, and then it's, okay, we've got to get the Master Sword ready, and then it's just whip around, get all the Triforce pieces done.
I think also because I've played enough Zelda or certainly Wind Waker, that I'm pretty good with most of the bosses now. I can do... there's a couple of them I can definitely do without taking any damage.
Yeah.
So there's less the feeling of, I need to go and get, a bunch of heart containers. I think we might have got one onto the second level.
Yeah.
We didn't really engage a lot with getting heart pieces. We didn't do the longest jump on the Deku Leaf.
Yeah.
We didn't do Splish Kaboom.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that didn't feel
necessary.
And it's all stuff that I enjoy when I do it in playthroughs of this game, but it's a very forgiving Zelda game to just mainline through,
Mhm.
and like it's yeah. I always feel like there's going to be a couple more dungeons than there is, and I know there isn't, but pacing wise, it feels like there should be a couple more.
Yeah, definitely. But
Um,
yeah, it's so much fun. Like I don't really know what else you could do to streamline that any better.
Not really. It's a good version of that
It's a
game.
good version of the game. It's as playable as it can be. Like it might be fun to go through and do it again and make sure you do all the eye reefs and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Like we got a bunch of treasure charts, and I don't think we like went out of our way to look for any of them.
Not really.
We didn't finish the. We only got like 6 of the Octos, I think.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I could see myself coming back and playing this again and doing that perfectionist playthrough I used to do, but
I don't remember. I don't think I've ever done a perfectionist playthrough. I've certainly never completed the Nintendo Museum.
I've done so. It's
Yeah.
quite a thing.
Maybe next time. What else?
I played and you played, so I suppose we played some Resident Evil 8. This is one that like I played a good chunk of, and then you played a little bit of it at the weekend. I sort of watched along. Heads up, if you're someone with motion sickness in first-person games, Resident Evil 8 has been setting it off real bad for me.
Well, the heads keep bobbing and they don't stop bobbing and they don't stop.
So yeah, there's like a setting that turns off something called head wobble. It's unclear if that's head bob or not. There's a lot of times where your character will be grabbed and shaken around by enemies, which will still shake your first-person perspective around. Your gun and the hand you're holding it in are visible in frame, and they sort of bounce around the screen in a way that is a big motion sickness trigger. And there's no field of view sliders with a very narrow field of view. I've been having to play it in like, if I'm lucky, maybe like 90-minute bursts. When I'm unlucky, maybe 40 minutes, and I'm like, no, I've got to have a lie down. That all said, I really like this game. I've been really enjoying it.
I've enjoyed what I've seen of it.
Yeah, I have been very much enjoying the. I like that tonally it feels a lot more like something like Resident Evil 4 in terms of the return to here's a mysterious, nebulously European village with a big, spooky castle environment full of big, opulent design. All of the enemies being very over-the-top, campy, B-movie.
Yeah.
They're just cheesy in the best kind of way. I have enjoyed a lot of the world design and the combat. It's fun to shoot stuff in that game.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the more actiony Resident Evils. It's definitely a bit more combat focused than 7 was.
But it's 4 combat focused as
Yeah.
opposed to 5 and 6 combat focused.
Yes, you're never gonna. You're rarely going to be fighting more than a couple of things at once, and it's usually. Here is a thing that's going to be kind of hard to kill, manage your resources and get it dead before it hurts you. Rather than I'm gunning down waves of zombies, you know.
Yeah, and like from watching you play it, I think this might be one I might more enjoy, like an actual playthrough. Like I tried to play through 7, and it was just, I think something about it I was just finding like a bit exhausting.
Yeah,
It's like I'm enjoying this, but at the same time, like,
honestly, I've been enjoying 8 a lot more than 7 in that regard. It's more what I like out of a good Resident Evil.
like 4 is, I think, my favourite Resident Evil.
Yeah, this is, I think, as close as the series has been to returning to 4, and I think that's to its benefit. Also, I don't think it's a spoiler necessarily to say that a lot of the marketing for this game was around like Lady Demetresque, the big tall vampire steppy lady, as if she was the be all end all boss of the game. Now she's a fairly small part of the game. I like that the majority of the game following that, just not in the marketing at all, which is really nice because it means that once you get past the first maybe quarter of the game, it's suddenly like, I genuinely have no idea what to expect, and that's really cool.
What's it gonna be?
Yeah, I mean, I have a suspicion. There was a cutscene near the start where I saw 3 other you look like you could be the boss of an area characters, and I'm excited to meet them because they're all very different in their own ways.
There was that scene at the beginning when Ethan's brought before Mother
Yes,
Miranda, and
yes.
there's all the other characters in that room, and one of them had the big high squeaky voice and was like, "Oh my god, it's the kid
Yeah.
Baron or whatever he was from
Yes, from 4.
from 4."
Yes, in his sort of like tricorn hat.
Yes.
Yes, it reminded me of them too. But you've got that, you've got Magneto Thor Cowboy. I don't know how
Yes.
better to describe him.
No, you are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Magneto Thor Cowboy. You've got Tiny Little Living Doll, you've got Massive Flesh, and then 8-Winged Angel. And I'm like, you all seem like you're gonna be fun to me.
Mhm. Yeah, and like I've enjoyed the fact that like there's been a few times when we've like done a section and then you've gone and done like a couple of hours in an area, like you went and did Castle Dimitrescu and then sort of like looped back into the village and was
Yeah.
like, oh, more's opened up in the village.
Yeah.
And like the Duke's given us a map with a bunch of stuff on it.
Also, can I just say, I love the Duke as a character. I was really nervous when he first showed up in trailers, and I was like,
Oh god, I think you're just going to do a haha, the fat man.
the fat man. The merchant is a fat man. They've actually, they've made no jokes about his size. The closest there is to something as expense is his clothes don't fit because they're too small because he's fat.
I mean, not only is
like-
he fat, he's huge, like Dimitrescu huge, so it's
Yes.
understandable that you have trouble finding off the rack shit for
Exactly. But like, he's not only like a lovely, welcoming, helpful, pleasant person.
I'm
That's
I'm
like-
confused about like how he fits into the world.
Yeah,
though.
I'm fascinated by his role in the world, but like, he's like, I was bracing for him to be portrayed as greedy. That's what I was bracing for. Is I'm like, very big character. He's gonna be greedy. He's gonna swindle you out of stuff. And I was like, no,
he seems to offer a fair price for things.
he offers a fair price for things, and he's just a very lovely person who seems to be trying to help.
Yeah.
And is very, he's a good.
I'm very curious about his part in the
Yeah.
world because, like, he, like, at one point he's got like a little shop set up in the car. I think at the first time you meet him, he's got a shop set up in the castle. Like, and they're okay with this. They're not trying to
Yeah.
eat you.
Yeah.
Are you Switzerland in this world? What the fuck?
It's interesting. I'm curious about it. Here's the thing. Again, this goes to the Resident Evil 4 comparisons. If you're gonna go back to Resident Evil 4's having the merchant that sells and upgrades stuff, it's a lot to live up to the Resident Evil 4 merchant, but I think they've done a good job here of making him enjoyable in a very different way without feeling like they're trying to retread he's the RE4 merchant again.
Well, I think the difference with the Duke over the merchant from 4 is the fact that like he's got a whole personality.
Yeah, he's an actual character.
He's giving advice. He's sort of going like sometimes explains little bits of plot.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool.
He'll
I'm
point you
curious
the way
how
to
you
go
know
sometimes.
this and
Yeah.
how you're here and
Yeah, I'm curious how all this works, but thank you for pointing me where I needed to go and telling me what the fuck's going on.
yeah.
Yeah, I want to get further through this. I'm
Mhm.
really digging it.
Yeah.
It's real neat.
Mm.
What about you? What you played this week?
We played a board game of sorts.
We played
We played Exit, an escape room in a box. The one we played was the Gate Between Worlds.
Indeed.
So you get a box. It is a single-use board game. You get some cards that will explain the areas you're in, and you they're all numbered. So at some point you will get given instructions. You'll find clues that will lead to numbers, and some of those numbers will have the right answer on the back, and some of those will lead you to yet another question, like, oh, you found one of these. Cool. Have you found the right one? Let's ask something else. Okay, now we know you've definitely got the right answer, therefore you get to proceed.
Yeah, so I really like the way that this handles progression, which is that like the narrative of this is you've basically found a Stargate, you're hopping between worlds, and the Stargate prop is a decoder ring, and basically, you line up what you think the answer is. That might be some colours or some numbers, and you line them up with a symbol, and you get a number, and you check this deck of cards. And basically, to make sure that you haven't accidentally got the right answer the wrong way, you'll sometimes get directed to cards that are like, aha, this is a solution card, but what puzzle were you trying to solve that brought you to this card?
Mm-hmm.
Go to this card instead. To be like, you can't just get the right number, you have to get the right number from the right starting place.
Yeah, it's basically like a fail-safe for getting the answers.
Yeah, and I think it worked really well.
It did, because certainly there was one point when we found one of those cards and we're like, cool, we've definitely got out of here. Okay, this is the symbol we're looking for. Find it on there. We found it and it was like, oh, no, we haven't quite got the right answer.
Yeah. And you mentioned at the start that this is a slightly destructible escape room in a box. Yeah, this is not a play.
Use.
This is definitely not a play and pass.
No.
There are elements that you will need to.
Scissors for?
You will need scissors. You will need to actively destroy elements of this game.
Yeah, cut things,
at
fold
times.
things.
There's
Something else as well.
that thing at the end that I think is very clever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this in spite of its wildly fluctuating difficulty.
Yes, because there was like some. Okay, there was the first world where we were like, oh, I don't really understand what this game wants of me just yet.
Yeah, it needed to. I think this game needed to have a very simple opening puzzle to get you used to. This is how the slightly overcomplicated mechanics of the deck and the wheel and this and that work. It needed like a practice puzzle to go, you've understood how the wheel works and how to do a puzzle solution.
Yeah.
Before it jumped right into, here's kind of a complicated first puzzle.
Yeah, because the game starts with, okay, make 3 piles. One will have 1 card in it.
Yeah.
One will be like half the deck. One will be the other half of the deck. Then you'll have some rubber bands, a sheet of props that you will get to use later. Put them to the side, don't touch them. Don't look at them too hard. Here is a set of fold-out posters that are, I think they're just under A4, I think.
Yeah.
And this weird decoder ring thing that you have to build a little stand for, and you have to put the stand on very precisely.
Yes.
And you will find out why.
Yeah, there are some reasons for that. I'll say this. I think there are a couple of points where this game's own instructions work against it and made it difficult for us to solve certain puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is a fairly spoiler-light thing to say, that the game keeps insisting on you don't look at the stuff that we haven't told you to yet, don't look too hard at it. And we took that to mean don't look at it at all until you're told. There was at least one puzzle that was like, hey, you need to pay attention to an element of those things that you're not meant to look at too closely yet.
I mean, the main element of that was just the setup. It's like, okay, you've set it up, there you go, start the timer and go. Because you can either download the app and start a very specific timer.
Yeah.
It comes with an inbuilt video teaching you
and
the
a
entire
soundtrack
manual.
and stuff.
It's basically a overly dramatic soundtrack and a stopwatch.
Yeah.
But like the initial setup is just like, okay, there it is. Start solving.
Yeah. Once you get through that first puzzle and you understand how the core mechanics work, it flows a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, it helps that if you've followed the instructions in the manual to the rule, to the letter, as soon as you have got a thing, you can look at the related thing.
Yes. But I really liked some of the puzzle solutions that were involved. I thought that some of them were very, very cleverly put together.
Yeah.
There's the difficulty curve's a bit weird in that, like, it's front-loaded with some very difficult puzzles, and then there's one that's like, here's basically just turn the thing around until you fix it.
Well, it didn't help that there was, like, only one place on that entire board that met the criteria of the riddle.
You go from, like, very tough lateral thinking to, here's a bunch of things. Try it on each of them, and you'll find the answer.
I mean, you can literally just try it on all of them, and it won't take you very long.
Yeah.
Or you can just look at the layout of the thing and go, well, that's not going to take very long.
But, like, there were lots of moments in this where, like, upon realizing a puzzle solution, I felt very smart.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of moments of, oh, I've spotted one detail and it's all coming together and I suddenly understand what's happening.
There was also, like, at least a couple of, like, red herrings in there.
Yeah.
There was, like, a whole bit of text where I was like, oh my god, at some point we're going to have to translate this. Oh my god, it looks so complicated.
Yes, yes. Indeed, yeah. There's things that are like, oh, that looks very important. That looks like I could click on it in a point-and-click adventure game. And, like, maybe it is, but maybe it isn't right now. And there's a lot of, like, I'm trying to use this as part of the puzzle solution now, when it's going to come back later.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, once you get into the flow of what this game wants from you, it was really satisfying.
We should add this is difficulty level 3 of 6, I think.
Yeah.
I heard from a friend after I posted about us playing it on Facebook that, so some of the harder ones are just ridiculous.
I wouldn't want to go much tougher than this. This was about where I wanted to be.
I mean, it took us 3 hours.
Yeah, for a 1 to 2 hour estimate, it took us about 3 hours.
It didn't help that we started playing quite late in the evening and we do not have a proper overhead light in our living room.
Also, I was sleepy and poorly.
Also, you were sleepy and poorly.
Which is not helping my logical deduction skills.
It was not. But, like, the fact that we were sitting there with mobile phone torches pointed at components.
Yes.
Because it was the only way
we needed to see the colours
tell
of
the correct colour
things.
of things.
Yeah, we had some things working against us.
Yeah,
but,
I feel like that's more of a sit down at noon rather than a sit down in the evening and have a play.
That said, I'd play another of these boxes by this company.
Yeah, I would definitely play it. So that's the Exit series by Cosmos, but there's also the Unlock series, which are like packs of 3 mostly in the UK. They do them in singles in America, but they're non-destructible, so you can play in half. And then we've got the one with the Leopold puzzle that we got in the Zatu box this month.
Yes.
Which is part of a 3-part story, and I believe that isn't destructible.
Yes.
That's just a deck of cards that you build your escape room out of. And I think you said there was like 30 activations.
Yeah,
for the
it
serial
seems like
number?
it's going to have some kind of like mobile app component, and it comes with 30 uses of the code, so you can play and pass at a reasonable degree.
Hopefully, yeah.
It seems.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably bust that one out at some point and have a playthrough.
Yeah.
But yeah. Escape room in a box. Fun. I would probably. I've heard a lot of people say that Unlock is definitely better. As fun as Exit was, and like especially certain puzzles that you had to destroy, I still would. And the fact that they can say it's as recyclable as they like, the fact that it's basically done and dusted now,
Yes.
does still make me go. Ooh.
Yes. Having received it in the Zatu box, I had fun with it, but, you know, there are probably equally fun, equally challenging, equally story-based escape room in a boxes that can be played and passed.
Yeah, not one I would have bought myself, but I had a lot of fun with it. And if you're maybe looking for a stocking filler for a board game nerd, because board games are expensive.
Yeah.
You can't be like, oh yeah, I heard you wanted Scythe, I'll buy you that for Christmas. But like if you want like a birthday present or something, and you think that's manageable, you could do worse than an escape room in a box.
Yeah.
What about you? Have you played anything else?
I think everything I've played this week.
I will have a quick look through the list to make sure I haven't got anything else.
While you're checking, I played more Pokemon Snap. It's still adorable. Like that's my whole thoughts on that. Continues to be great. You played it?
No, that's it.
No, that's it. Well then, time for this.
Right then, if we can all settle down. Right, so big election wins this week.
Yes.
Well done. Back pockets. Right. Apart from cracking down on voting, we've got a few ideas about how we can make it look like we're doing something for the minority types, the old LGBTQ,
the alphabet ones.
The alphabet soup, or quilt bag, or the bloody hell they're calling themselves these days. I call myself a bloody toaster. One choke.
So, what can we do to make it look like we're doing something, but not really? I mean, obviously, we don't want to upset the chairs or whatever.
I think we should really be pulling out a trick we've had in our back pocket and has worked very well for us before.
The
Consultations.
Oh, consultation.
Yes,
Do you
you
think
did
they'll
it with
fall for that again?
Well, I don't think they'll have much choice but to fall for it again, because it went so well last time. We go, hey, we're going to fix the thing you want fixed, but we'll do a consultation first.
Yeah, and every time we will just ignore it until we either get the answer we want, or we just say, we need to, thank you for your feedback on that consultation. We accept that. You've made some very valid points. We're going to need to consult on that.
Exactly. Or worse comes to the worst, we just kick the can down the road until whoever comes in to replace us eventually. It becomes their problem. It's like, the consultation, that's for you to fix now.
Well, I mean, you say that, but I have been thinking about making myself Prime Minister for life.
I mean, that sounds like a lot of work when you could just retire and get a very fat state pension pretty early.
Well, there's a point. Could just call a snap general election. I mean, I do keep complaining that I don't make enough money off of it.
Well, exactly. So just set the consultation running and then scarper off out the door.
Backhander.
And a pair of sentient dungarees. More on that later. And coming up, we have a story about scientists who've developed special pocket dimensions.
Oh!
Yes, apparently they are going to be issued to everyone to help solve the housing crisis.
Well, I mean, without the scarcity of physical space, that does seem like a solution to poverty and housing crisis.
Well, apparently also they were just able to duplicate them. So just a standard basic house, and then you just hand that out to someone.
No scarcity of economy. The house is as many as you need.
Everything you need right there. Apparently, as a side effect of the design, it's got its own running water.
What a wonderful step forward for society. I'm sure that everyone will celebrate this for the victory that it is.
Except we'll be going over to Aaron Soupmasher now, who is apparently speaking to a group of rampant landlords who are claiming they believe the pocket dimensions are untested and may cause side effects.
Yes. I've been hearing all these people suggesting, we don't need to pay rent on our physical homes. We'll just use one of these newfangled pocket thingies. But if we had any long-term studies into the health risks of them, they've only just been invented. What if 100 years from now they cause your bones to turn to dust? What about that? Shouldn't risk it. It's not safe. It's dangerous.
And you have proof of that yourself, do you?
Well, I mean, there's no proof that it won't be bad. Therefore, you shouldn't take a risk. You should continue the time-honoured tradition of renting safe, affordable properties from landlords.
Safe, affordable properties. Now, I understand that you recently had a whole problem with black mould at a number of your properties in South London.
Only mould is like bread. You just scrape it off and it'll be fine.
Right. Back to the studio.
So, what have you put in your eyes?
We watched a couple of films together this week. Do you want to start with one in particular?
We watched Mortal Kombat.
We watched the new Mortal Kombat film. It wasn't bad. It was a bit cheesy and campy, but
that's exactly what I wanted.
It was fun. It had just the right level of
hey, said the thing.
Yeah, hey, they said the thing. Just the right level of okay, that's nonsense. That doesn't fucking make sense, but it's cool, so I'll allow it.
Yeah, it's almost 80s action movie-esque.
Yeah. I felt like the narrative was about enough to justify existing.
Yeah, they've set it up for sequels. So
yeah,
who knows? We might get to see more characters.
They certainly have. Yeah, I thought that the fight scenes, while very jump cut heavy, were like pretty well done. They had nice animations for the your Mortal Kombat finishes.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty alright.
Yeah, it's a fun, goofy spectacle. Don't expect any of the fight scenes to be anything less than a flick book of very short shots.
Yeah, but like, if you're here for just some real low
Ridiculous,
low
campy.
brain requirement action movie
Yeah.
video game violent nonsense,
Yeah.
this is far from the worst Mortal Kombat film.
Also, as somebody who hasn't played a Mortal Kombat game since 4,
Yeah,
like you'll be all right.
yeah, it's not relying too much on characters from the last couple of years that you won't know.
I think there was one in there I didn't recognise that I suspect is from one of the later games.
Probably.
But like, I was like, yeah, that's fine.
There was enough of the stuff that you remember to be like, I know that.
Fucking Cabal was in there.
Yeah.
I had to deal with Cabal having an off-screen death in fucking Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And I went to see that at the cinema. Well, I've watched anything else.
We watched another film together. We watched
tapioca.
we watched The Mitchells versus the Machines.
Yay.
Which is a new CGI animated film from the studio that did Spider-Man Enter the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
This is a gorgeously animated film.
Mhm.
Very fast pacing to
Yes.
its whole sort of comedy setup.
Mhm.
It is basically about a dysfunctional family going on a road trip, and then the robot apocalypse happens, and they're the only humans left to try and save the day.
Mhm.
I like I would say the main protagonist, our sort of young female,
Mhm.
just getting ready to go off to university student. I think the main characters are very clearly her and her, basically film student.
I think the whole family are
Yeah.
pretty main in that. Obviously, you mostly follow
Yeah,
like her because
it's
it is
Yeah.
largely her story,
It's-
but the family
yeah.
are so closely related to that, and it is like family in a bottle.
It is. I think there is a certain degree of film student daughter and not very understanding lumberjack man's man father clashing heads. I think is the core of the conflict, because both the other family members, while fascinating and really well fleshed out and very well characterized, I think largely serve to support the main conflict. I think is fair to
That's-
say,
Yeah,
to a degree.
yeah.
But yeah, it's basically take family that that are already not getting on well together, put them in a cramped, stressful scenario, and do very fast-paced comedy with it.
Yeah.
I had a lot of laughs with this film.
Mhm.
It hit the nail on the head in
Yeah,
terms of
we laughed, we
goofs.
cried.
Yeah, it did feelings.
So many feelings.
Yeah. I will say, I've been thinking about it since we watched it.
Mhm.
If I had one complaint about it, it would be that, with a little bit of space from having finished watching it, I feel like the film leans a little bit too heavily on both sides are equally wrong in disagreement between parent and child, and I think there is a certain degree of I think maybe one of them was a little more in the wrong than the other, but
See, I've done the ADHD thing of already forgetting a lot of the elements of it.
yeah.
Like I was like, film do colours. I like colours. It
Yeah,
was fun and
that's-
deregulate tapioca.
Deregulate tapioca.
I found that video on YouTube and watched it like on repeat. um, but like I can understand because I've heard
Yeah.
people going, yeah, but they're making it very much a case of, well, both parties need to, come the same distance. Yeah, I see that. I see that the movie did that. Didn't spot that at the time.
That's the thing. I didn't think about it at the time, and it certainly didn't ruin the film for me. And when I say it's my only complaint,
I don't
it
think
is.
anything about the movie suggested
Yeah.
that it was saying that they had to come together. Like, I think that
I-
I don't know, maybe I've watched enough other similar movies
yeah.
where the point wasn't to come together.
That is the thing. It's not that I thought that it was saying they had to come together and that they both had to make an equal effort. It felt in the moment, it didn't bother me, but thinking about it afterwards, there was a little bit of one of these things carries a lot more weight, and one of the I'm just gonna say, I think the dad had age and maturity on his side and should probably have been more emotionally mature and realised he had a little bit more responsibility to realise his role in what was going on than teenager who doesn't feel supported and therefore does some kind of shitty stuff as a teenage response to that. But that's a very minor critique of what I thought was overall a very amusing, very well put together, very funny and heartfelt film.
A fun, heartfelt adventure.
I definitely cried.
Definitely cried a lot. Linda is the best character, also.
Yeah.
The lavender one.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Also, we said this while we were watching it. For a film that clearly tries to acknowledge a certain kind of internet humour, it manages to do so without, trying to reference specific current memes in a way that's going to date it.
Yeah, with one exception, everything was made specifically for the film.
Yes. I kept thinking about comparing it to Ralph Saves the Internet, the Wreck-It Ralph sequel, which very much insisted on being here's character, we put them in the Screaming Goat video, we put them in the Harlem Shake. It's this creates its own original content that feels very a certain era of internet without being that, which I think is to its credit. I think it helps it a lot.
I think it will stand the test of time a lot better
Yeah.
than Wreck-It Ralph. Because I think as long as you understand that internet culture exists, and there is always going to be that surreal sense of, I did a thing.
Yeah. I think Deregulate Tapioca will hold up very well.
I love Deregulate Tapioca.
Yeah, it's on Netflix now, and I struggle to think of reasons not to recommend this film. It's superb. It's great. Yeah, it's just a really good film.
Yeah, it's a fun romp.
Yeah, very, very well-paced fun romp with a good, the right level of, here's emotions, don't worry, we got back to comedy, it's fine.
Yes. Yeah. It's it's a good fun family story.
Yeah.
What
about
I expect to see more.
What about you? What have you been watching?
What have I been watching? I've been watching lots and lots and lots and lots of videos of people making small things out of recycled objects. Because apparently that is a thing I do now. I just really love watching people build tiny dioramas. That's the word I'm looking for. So we watched the Studs and Studios videos of making a miniature museum, the miniature museum from Animal Crossing, and the Nook's Cranny, and the Able Sisters shop.
Yeah.
That's all by the same person. They've made some really beautiful little dioramas that we've watched various. Oh, they also did the Breath of the Wild stable.
Oh yeah, that was fascinating. That one.
Mm-hmm. Apart from that, in other mini things, I've been watching get more Brandon James Greer videos. Specifically, the designing a tiny pixel art Game Boy tribute world.
Oh, I saw that one.
We watched that one together. It was the little world in Game Boy world with lots of little Game Boy references.
Yeah.
and little Game Boy people. And I think cyberpunk pixel art scene. Watched the building a stick figure into a sprite where they used Spider-Man as an example. So they basically took a stick figure, turned it into Spider-Man in a bunch of iconic Spider-Man poses, and then sort of talked about how they could put it into SNES era X-Men games, because basically it's sort of the same height and design and same colour palette. I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and also did some Rubik's Cube art. So basically using just 6 colours to build a world and being And because it's pixel art, you could technically shuffle enough Rubik's Cubes to make this.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
cute.
So yeah, what about you? Have you watched anything else?
That's it for me, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No more trains.
Well,
No new trains.
I mean, it's been watching the same train videos I've already been watching. I've not put any new train videos in my rotation. It's just been the same ones again.
So if you've got trains to recommend,
I
do
mean,
send them in.
I'll take any good train video recommendations. I just keep watching the GAN video at the moment. That 3 hour long video about the Australian train.
It's a good video.
It's a good one, and it's a lengthy enough one that I can not have to repeat it too many times.
Mm-hmm. Well then.
Time for this.
Hello, got a new sponsor.
Who's our new sponsor?
Well, have you heard of gamer products?
Oh, like the antiperspirant goo and
Yeah, the gamer goo,
the
the
caffeine
antiperspirant
in
for
all
your
the
hands.
things, the
Caffeine, all the things. Caffeine
Yeah.
in the bacon, caffeinated socks.
caffeine in the nuts.
Caffeinated shampoo. I mean, wait,
the-
caffeinated nuts?
Yeah, are you not?
Oh,
yeah.
oh, you mean the ET nuts rather than...
Yeah, no, yeah, the ET nuts, but like the chili crispy coating has caffeine in it.
Oh, okay, I thought you meant some kind of testicular roll-on
No.
with caffeine in it.
Or just, here's the caffeine powder, just scoop it into your mouth.
Yeah, isn't that the one with the bunny and you just, like, eyeball it?
Yeah, you just snort some caffeine powder.
Yeah, just railing lines of
Yeah,
caffeine
gamer
powder.
products.
Yeah, gamer products, right? What if that, but for elite movie buffs?
Tell me more.
Well, how about something like energy popcorn?
Oh, shit.
Have you got like a movie marathon you want to get through? You're gonna watch all of the Marvel movies in one go?
I mean, I was going to say the extended Lord of the Rings, but all of the Marvel movies is probably a longer
all of the Marvel
commitment.
movies, back to back,
Oh, that's going to be...
special editions.
It's going to be pretty hard to stay awake during that.
Oh no, it's not. Movie buff popcorn.
Oh, goodness.
Movie buff popcorn. It's caffeinated. It's also got a special ingredient. Gonna just dry up that bladder.
Well, I mean...
You are gonna be pissing sweat.
I mean...
But don't worry, you're not gonna be pissing.
Well, see, here's the thing. If I'm getting my caffeine from my popcorn, I'm not even going to need to drink excessive amounts of liquid, which will help with the not needing to pee thing.
Oh, but that's the movie experience, right?
Yeah, but like, I'll be drinking it to drink it, not to keep myself awake with the caffeine.
Yep, and as well as this very special brand of movie buff popcorn, there are movie buff clothing products as well. Yeah, so to deal with all the sweat that you'll be leaking as a result of the not peeing, there's special clothes that just moisture sapping. They will wick that away from the body.
Oh.
And that can just, you're just like, occasionally you'll just like twist out the leg of a trouser or something, and that'll just...
Oh, and what do I see here on the press release? Moviegoer trousers with special butt padding for longest seating experiences.
Yeah, it says here that there's like a little massage setting, so it stops your butt going completely numb.
Oh, wonderful. Going to the movies will never be the same again once we can go back to the movies.
Indeed, once you can go back to the movies. That's elitemovieproducts.lol.net and enter the code QNPS167 and you can get 7% off your first tanker of popcorn.
That's a lot of popcorn.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much they expect you to eat this in one go, but that looks like you could feed a small village with it.
I mean, that should last for one MCU marathon, probably.
Just about, yeah.
Just about.
Yeah. Inside the boardroom of Electronic Active Softworks.
Hi.
Ha!
So, video games.
Yeah.
Going pretty well for us.
Nice.
We
Alright.
made that video game, the horror one, where we accidentally made everyone
lady,
very,
yeah.
very horny.
Yeah.
With the very tall lady that wants to hurt you.
I mean, who would have thought that, just you have a slightly wet dream one night and you bring your ideas to work and there it
Well,
is.
exactly. So, I think we've learned a valuable lesson from this.
My horny dreams will get us money.
Well, exactly, and more than that, very specific niche horny is a moneymaker in the video game industry.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what additional kinks can we work into our next video game? What kind of sexual stuff can we make into a playable into a main character or antagonist next time?
What if a 15-foot woman
Ooh.
with an even wider brimmed hat.
I mean, look, I think we can get away with that maybe once, but we will eventually have to start doing other stuff than taller lady with bigger hat.
Do we?
I mean, maybe not. We keep trying it until they, maybe get bored of it.
Yeah,
but, like,
we'll do like the whole, you remember when we had the action idea? We were like, Resident Evil 4, that worked. So
Yeah.
we'll do a 5th and a 6th, and that's more and more action, and then people didn't like that anymore.
Exactly.
So by the time we get to the 100-foot woman with the hat,
Well, see, here's-
the brim the size of Saturn's rings.
See, here's the thing. I think unlike the action stuff, I think that one will actually work. I think, we do 15 foot, we do 20 foot. We just jump up to 100 foot so we can get all the people that like a, huge giantess, That's a thing.
Yeah.
Maybe we have a villain who's like a sculpted heart man, but also he inflates sometimes, and maybe will eat you.
Ooh.
Get some inflation, some more in there.
There's a bed that follows you, and then you get trapped under the covers, and all the air gets sucked out, and you're all sort of slippery.
I see. Yeah, you've got a big hulking, a big powerful person who's a furry. They're just a furry.
Like a werewolf.
No, that's like transforming into an animal. They're just a furry. They put on the costume.
Right. So it's just someone like a mascot following you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
Right,
I'm
right.
big and scary and strong and I can hurt you, but also I put on a little head and now I'm a wolf.
Also, yiff.
Yiff.
Yeah.
We got any others? To finish up on?
Yeah, what if there is someone, they're very, very smooth, very sleek, but you can't really make out any of their features, and they follow you around and stick like a helmet on your head, and it all goes dark. You can't see or hear or feel anything, and there's just the slow sound of white noise in your ears.
I see.
Just, and that comes with like we do that in VR. A new kind of VR. You'd like put the whole helmet over your head, and sometimes there's the light on, sometimes you're hearing sound, but sometimes it all stops. And you're in the dark, you're on your own, there's nothing.
And also the tall vampire lady's there.
You sense that maybe she's there.
You're
Maybe she's gone shopping.
You're a fucking genius.
I know.
So, what have you put in your ears?
This week, so I started listening to a playlist of a specific variety of white noise I didn't realise I'd been missing during lockdown. So I saw someone tweeting today that they were watching a live stream of some Eurovision rehearsals being sort of discussed by commentators from a press room, because they were like, it's giving me the energy of being in a press room at a convention, which they hadn't had in a while. And I turned it on and I was like, yeah, I don't care at all about what they're saying, but you're right, this is an energy that I've weirdly missed. So I loaded up Crowd Noise 1 hour white noise. It's just an hour of low-level crowd
Muttering.
chatter, muttering, heard from a little bit of a distance. And while I was doing my emails today, I just sat that going, because I was like, I think like October or November of 2019 would have been the last time I went to a big convention where that was a thing. Maybe like January, February of 2020, when I went and covered that game jam at a university. A little bit of that sort of noise chatter sound. But it's been a while since I've been doing the thing of working, tapping away at my keyboard while there's just the sort of the noise of a crowd somewhere in the distance. I didn't realise how much I'd kind of missed that, and it felt very nostalgic, so I worked to that sound today. What about you? What have you been listening to?
Oh, damn it.
Has it
I
gone?
had it and then it went. It came back though. I listened to a new track by We Are Union. We Are the Union.
Oh, I watched and listened to this.
You did? Boys Will Be Girls?
Yeah!
It's it's ska. And
Yes.
it's got the trombone player who's
From-
best known as Cartoon Network.
Yes.
Yeah, and the video is like in a world where you are assigned male or female.
Take your
And
cup to the pipe and get given the coloured
Blue
gender
juice
goo.
or pink juice.
Yeah, blue juice or pink juice.
and
Don't swap juices. Oh, don't mix them.
Oh, don't you dare!
Oh, the machine gets very angry if you try and swap juice.
Yeah, and the video sort of goes from like this, almost like a mental health facility that like
Yeah.
everyone's wearing white, everyone's shuffling to get their medication from the thing, to if you've ever seen it, the J Girls Band video for Freeze Frame, where they start off in white overalls and they're covered in paint by the end of it.
Yeah,
But what if neon colours?
It's a much more neon-coloured equivalent of... I started thinking about... It was a Frank Iero music video, and I don't remember what the song was called, but it's they all start in white suits and it ends up being covered in lots of fake blood.
Okay.
I was like, similar thing, but more neon and colourful, less vicious.
Probably a much more up-to-date reference than the one I made.
Oh, possibly. I'm annoyed. I'm going to find out in a second what that song was, but
Alright.
yeah, it's a good song and a good video.
Oh yeah, like I enjoy a bit of ska and that look do and good ska. Also watched their video for Morbid Obsessions, which is in a world of kind of spoopy people. The zombies aren't allowed in the zombies aren't allowed in the pub. Because the plague doctor says no, and it's about the zombies finding acceptance. Ooh. Well, that's what the music video is about. It's about morbid obsessions. Otherwise, but yeah, it's another really fun video, and a really good ska track.
The track I was thinking of by Frank Iero was called Joyriding. It's a fantastic video if you're okay with a lot of fake blood. Lad. It's fun. I like that track as well. It's a good track.
Yay!
I listened to a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to the Adventure Zone Ether Sea prologue.
Ooh.
So this is the new Adventure Zone season. We've talked about the Adventure Zone before, Dungeons and Dragons or tabletop real play podcast. Neither of us really got on with the most recent season, Graduation, but they've started a new story, new campaign. They've gone back to Griffin, who was the original DM, is DMing, and before they start this proper story, which is going to be done in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, they're doing a few episodes of a prologue game to do world building, using a tabletop one-shot called A Quiet Year, which is about making maps and deciding the fate of a town or a settlement in the 12 months following an end-of-the-world event. So basically the way that they've used it for Ether Sea is that the basic concept is magic has a cost, and people kept not paying that cost, and it created magical pollution that basically ended up in the ocean, and the ocean got pissed and started fucking up the land. And everyone was suddenly like, oh shit, we gotta find somewhere else to live because the ocean's trying to fucking kill us.
I mean, that's fair.
So it's basically them playing through a year of world building, trying to build some of the world building aspects of what was it like in the year between the end of the world is beginning and them settling in their new life, somehow living under the ocean. A Quiet Year is a really interesting game in that it's basically you draw cards from a deck of cards that will dictate certain events that are basically it's very similar to the Adventure Zone game in that it's very much about here is a prompt, how do you approach it? There are no dice rolls involved, there's no success or failure, it's what do you think is an interesting answer to this prompt you've been given, and basically using that to tell a story without any dice rolls, to shape a map out.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed a lot of the world building stuff in this first episode. I will say the opening 2 to 3 minutes where Griffin is doing a bit of a setting up what the world is monologue is very... I'm going to mention a lot of names of factions and places and stuff, and there's a lot of, I'm dropping lots of things at you at once. It calms down within the first couple of minutes.
Good.
Which is, just be prepared for that. Don't feel like you have to remember it all when he does the monologue, because during the rest of the episode he will address things at a more reasonable pace. I like a lot of the sort of Full Metal Alchemist style cost to magic narrative stuff of this season. It seems really interesting. There's another bit of early world building I thought was really interesting, which is it's a world in which basically the gods are a thing, and they're all like, hey, let's all just agree to never fucking give the mortals magic because they cannot be trusted with it.
Yeah.
And they all agree to this, and then one of the gods is like, yeah, but I really like being liked, and I want to be their favourite god because if they all worship me, that's good for me. I'm the most worshipped of them.
Mm.
So this god decides to give humans magic, and that was a mistake. I mean, it goes very badly very quickly. And yeah, I like a lot of the world building. I will say, A Quiet Year is a map making game as much as it is a lore making game. It is a game that will request you to make additions to a map while you are building out like the story of a year. If you have aphantasia, you may well benefit from going on the Adventure Zone Twitter account when the episode has gone up, finding the map which they do upload, and having it on hand while you listen to go like, okay, how does that relate to what they've said before? Oh, okay, it's there. Having visual references made this a lot more accessible, and I think that is just a fact of playing a very visual-heavy game as their world-building tool. But, like, I really enjoyed it. This first episode got me excited to listen to the Adventure Zone, which I haven't been in...
However long the last
in
series
approximately
was running.
38 weeks.
Wow, is that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I
Yeah.
listened to like 6 episodes. I listened to at least 4 of them twice, and I just didn't care.
I really didn't get on well with Graduation, which is a shame, but Ether Sea has some cool world building, and it's nice having this as the start point for it, because it's allowing all 4 of the players, not just Griffin, to have a say in certain aspects of how the world is set up, which has been really fun to see play out.
And also from like a storytelling perspective, or from a DM perspective, to have that many prompts that you didn't have to come up with yourself to work from. Amazing. Because like, while I'm not one for insisting people like write pages and pages of backstory, like I've played D&D games or DM'd D&D games where people didn't really want to write anything on their sheet at all. It's like, oh, I'll just flesh it out. I'm a tabaxi rogue. Cool. Are you from anywhere? Did you have a childhood? Any, nemesis in the past? Anything I can maybe work into a future story that we can all tell together?
Yeah.
No, I just turned up with my dice.
Cool.
Well, that's the thing. Like, the impression I get from this listening to it is I think it's going to be really nice for Griffin as a DM to have... A lot of this doesn't need to be relevant in the rest of the story because it is a story of, like, the end year of a world that's going to end up under the sea. But it gives enough, like, these are things that can be part of the world that I could repurpose and make part of the story going forward. It's a lot of, let's collaborate on ideas that could be important. So I'm excited about Adventure Zone again.
Yay!
Did you listen to anything else this week?
Well, I discovered that the SCP Archives is back for season 3.
Ooh.
So I listened to the first 4 episodes of that, which are a 4-part story of whatever happened to what happened to Site 13, or SCP-1730. It's kind of a bit of a legend in the SCP Foundation archives as one of the bigger stories, one of the more dramatic ones, and they've done a really good job making it into a 4-part, like 40 minutes each drama, talking about like what the fuck is Site 13, because so basically the idea is that they were going to build an SCP Foundation location there. Then it kind of got scrapped because they found like a bigger, better area to do it somewhere else. But now all of a sudden they found there's this broken SCP Foundation area called Site 13 on that area, and it's full of SCPs. And also there's something really bad going on with these sort of leech things that just keep coming out of the wall and jumping down people's throats, eating them from the inside, piloting them around, and trying to go and get more things. Yeah, it's quite a tale, and well told. So I'm also very glad, like, I didn't have to listen to it weekly, because being able to just go, I'm gonna binge the whole thing was like, that was fucking cool. So yeah, if you're looking for 4 bits of interesting audio drama, in the SCP Archive style, go for that. It's a good fun story.
Nice.
Got any others?
That's everything I've listened to this week.
Only other thing I listened to was part 6 of the Inexplicables, the Rusty Quill Patreon only podcast.
yeah.
The final part of that happened.
How are you feeling now it's done?
Just kind of the same way I did before.
Good world characters are insufferable.
Good worlds. I care much more about the creatures, the Inexplicables themselves, and the world that they inhabit, but not so much at least one of the kids of the mum that set up the organisation in the first place. Like, the backstory around them is fascinating, but like, just the fact that Harold, I think is his name, is the son. Like, from the beginning, it's very clear that he's in trouble with the Financial Conduct Authority.
Yeah.
And that is just the most bullshit fucking setup for a podcast, like, story for a protagonist. Like, that's not an everyman story. That's not...
I mean, no.
I mean, don't get me wrong, like, it might be an interesting take, because we've never heard that before, but I don't want to hear about middle-class twats who, made a fuck up with some kind of investment banking bullshit.
Yeah. Not a relatable backstory for the protagonist to make you invested in their journey.
Not at all. But yeah, like, overall, it's an interesting story. I'm sorry, and it feels kind of weird that it's been held back behind the Patreon paywall. I don't know if they'll ever make it publicly available, but it seems a bit weird to make nearly 6 hours of audio drama and then, like, only a few people ever get to hear it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me being weird about Patreon benefits.
I mean, yes, but also I feel like there is a certain degree of their big project that everyone was invested in has just ended, and that they probably very desperately want to have something that gets people just over that hump of don't unsubscribe the second that the Magnus Archives finishes.
Maybe.
I feel like there is a certain degree of, if we keep you on for 1 extra month, you will probably stick around for whatever comes afterwards. Like, that's my gut instinct, and I understand the terror that comes with the prospect of stopping doing the thing that everyone knows you for.
Well, I mean, it sounds like they've got themselves, like, a bunch of really good podcasts going forward, because they're now starting the Rusty Quill Network. I don't know if you've read about this.
I saw something about it.
Yeah, so they put out an announcement they're doing the Rusty Quill Network now. There's going to be, like, a bunch of, like, pre-existing podcasts they've managed to get into their fold now.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can try it a little bit. So they've got, like, 5 new podcasts. The first 5 shows are Cryptids, The Decatapes, How It Ends, The Old Gods of Appalachia, and The Storage Papers. I heard Arachnovolt saying good things about The Old Gods of Appalachia. So I will, probably give that a look out. But yeah, it sounds like there's going to be a whole network of stuff that Rusty Quill will be in charge of now, which is nice.
I'm intrigued
I am
to
intrigued
see.
Yeah, but, like, I don't know. Maybe they were just trying to get people through that month and be like, but look, there's all this stuff now.
Yeah, as someone that is on Patreon and has that little bit of my brain that goes, yeah, but what if the biggest thing I do ever stops being a thing? And, like, oh god, will Patreon support fall away? I can understand wanting to make something to be like, hey, you want to stick around on the Patreon? Here's a reason to not go straight away. I feel like that's understandable.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's everything I've listened to.
Well then, time for this.
Everyone back from lunch?
Yes.
Good. Right. So, we've got to work out budgeting.
Oh, goodness, really?
Yes, absolutely. You know how things have been a bit tight. Partly because we keep giving all the money to our friends.
I mean, it's not even partly that. I think it's entirely that.
Wink.
Sorry, wink.
Exactly, wink. It's not, I mean,
No,
partly because we keep giving it to our
no, it's not
chappies.
even partly. It's none that.
None that. Wink.
Wink.
Ah, gotcha. We're getting better at the lying thing.
Ah, yes. As long as we don't do it in front of the public, it's fine.
Exactly. You didn't have to bloody do this eating.
Yeah.
Stand around setting fire to money in front of poor people. Anyway, I've recently heard about a lot of this new age bullshit that's going around.
Oh, the homeopaths, the diluted magic water
Initially
pipes.
thought it was a vegetarian serial killer, but
Yeah.
turns out homeopathy is this thing where you give a very small amount and claim it gives loads of benefits.
Oh, yes, you pretend that, like, the one atom of a thing that maybe exists, probably doesn't, has the same power as if you did the whole thing.
Exactly. If I understand correctly, so you just take a very small amount of the thing
Water
and
it down.
water it down,
Water it down
like
some
a
more.
lot.
Water it down some more. Water it down some more.
Exactly. So NHS pay rises, homeopathic.
Exactly. We'll give you a penny to share between the whole of all of you nurses. That is the same as a full pay rise for each of you.
Exactly. You're all birchy millionaires now. What are you complaining about? Get back to work. Police numbers.
Yes.
People are always complaining about police numbers. Homeopathic.
Oh, yes.
You policeman, chuck him in a lake. That'll do.
That'll do.
That'll cover all the East Midlands. What?
No, yes.
Funding for the arts. They're always wittering on about that.
Yes. We'll look at a painting and say good job, and that'll sort of ripple out to the whole art industry.
Yeah, some pinking shears in a puddle or something.
Yes.
And, of course, taxes for the wealthy.
I mean, we've been practicing homeopathy with those for years.
Exactly. Now, one other thing I have been mentioned about dealing with just sort of general poverty. You remember I spent all that money on water cannons, what?
Yes.
Right, well, what I'm going to do, chuck an old halfpenny in there and just spray down, London, the north of England, the poor bits. Inner city kids. Yeah, how about you?
Sounds wonderful to me.
I will be manning that water cannon myself, because it's bloody good fun when you get them in the face.
Well, make sure to give me a turn as well.
God, I hate them. Questions, Sam. Some questions.
What's the questions?
Math Tiger asks, "Hello, American here. How do you eat Marmite? I tried it, and the flavour is so concentrated it seems like it's useless unless you dilute it down like bouillon. You don't. It's awful." Or
Okay. As someone that is the complete opposite end of the spectrum, first of all, for most people, you really don't need much of it at all. I know that most people will dilute it by having butter and then a thin layer of Marmite over it, because that slightly softens it. My preferred pairing in that regard is Marmite and peanut butter sandwiches, because you do a thin, in my case, a thick layer, but, a thin layer of Marmite on one slice of bread, some peanut butter on the other. Peanut butter really helps to offset a lot of the edge of the sharpness of the flavour. The creaminess really helps. But yeah, don't be afraid to use a lot less than, to do a very thin layer. And don't be afraid to do it with something creamy like butter or margarine or spread or something.
homeopathic Marmite.
I mean, basically.
The only time I will really use it, I wouldn't spread it on a bagel or anything, but like half a teaspoon in spaghetti bolognese.
Yeah, it's good as a give this sort of like
It's umami.
yeah, give it a nice
Some
umami.
salt.
Yeah, a salty umami-ish flavour.
Mm. That's it.
Honestly, that's the thing. You have it in a very thin, or slightly diluted with something creamy flavour, and if you still don't like it, you are probably the percentage of the population that just will never like Marmite.
Yeah, there's a reason there's a whole ad campaign in the UK for years, which is that you either love it or you hate it.
It's a very polarising flavour.
Yeah. I don't know anyone that's like is so into it that they'll eat it out of the jar with a spoon, but really?
Yeah,
You've eaten it out of the jar with a spoon?
yeah,
Like just
yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh.
Oh, like a big spoonful, just a little spoonful. Just a little spoonful. I'm sorry, don't
It's okay, it's okay, I'm not judging you. You have what you enjoy, but also, like, that's just making my heart just go, no, do so,
As you were saying, you don't know anyone, I was like, oh no, I'm dying inside.
I am the someone.
I am the someone.
Well, apparently I know someone who's not willing to be open about it most of the time.
I mean, it's not that I'm not willing, it's just never come up in
She's
front
never
of you.
slid sideways into the living room in a pair of socks with a spoon and a jar of mayo.
No, but you don't really use the Marmite. It's
No, I
not like
don't.
you're often around when I'm like, little bit of Marmite. Just a little bit.
Okay. Matea, yes. Marmite, no. Right. Basin asks, what are you buying, stranger?
There's a video game coming out on Friday. I'm probably buying, and I can't remember what it is. Oh, Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Ooh.
That's probably what I'm buying.
An excuse to play the Mass Effect again.
Yeah. When I'm done signing books and the flat isn't full of books, I'm buying an electronic drum kit. That's what I'm buying.
What am I buying? Nothing. I've got to pay my tax, and then I don't know what I'll have left over. Probably saving for tax for next year.
I got paid for book, and therefore I can buy a couple of things for me.
Also, what I would like more than anything else right now is time.
Yeah.
Like, I have some cool things. I'd like to spend some time with them.
Money for you right now equals a little bit less work, maybe, so that you have more time.
Maybe, but
Maybe.
like, it's not a case of I can't really buy time off.
No.
Like, it's the thing I really want to do most at the moment is make more music. The thing I recently bought to aid with that is I bought a dictaphone. I guess that is the thing I've bought, stranger. Thank you. That's the thing I bought recently. I bought a really nice like ambient recorder with like directional microphones, so I can go and do some ambient recordings. I've had some, like, there's been a few times when I've made lo-fi recently. It's like, I could really use just like the sounds of rainfall or the sounds of like just walking through the woodland. Just some nice ambient background for a 3-minute track that I could put in. The sounds of footsteps walking along a path.
Yeah. The sound of a cat purring.
Oh yes, the sound of cat purring. Oh, she's gonna get such a recording. She's gonna get so papped. Yeah. So that's what I've bought. We had the same question again, so that's fine. Oh no, I missed a question. It was a past question. That's why I missed it, and I've just realised in the screenshot that I've got it. But would you rather be crab or leaf sheep?
Oh, what's leaf sheep?
It's a little underwater leafy friend. They photosynthesize, and then they got little white faces in there.
Oh, I like this crab. This crab though, it's got blue on the top.
It's a rainbowy crab.
It got blue on the top of its head.
They're the gardeners and caretakers of their tiny crab utopia.
I would like to be the gardener and caretaker of a tiny crab utopia.
Oh, you deserve a tiny crab utopia.
I want that to be my job now. Is I'm just caretaker of a tiny crab utopia.
Oh, I can see you and Nick's just scuttling together, doing
Yeah.
the scuts. Adorable.
Yeah.
Adorable. So you're going with that. You're going
Yeah.
with crab. Okay. Well, if both of you are going to be crab, I'll also be crab.
Okay.
But can we keep leaf sheep as pets?
Yes, of course.
Can we herd leaf sheep?
The leaf sheep can live in our tiny crab utopia.
Tiny crab utopia. La 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 la. Sorry, I was just thinking about tiny crab utopia. Right.
Enough of that silliness.
Phoenix asks, time for this silliness. Hi, Phoenix.
I love you.
Favorite thing in a can.
Favorite thing in a can?
Oh.
Oh, I don't know. Do you have a favorite thing in a can?
I mean, I enjoy soup.
Soup is good. Soup is good and comes in a
I
can.
enjoy custard.
Custard indeed.
Pineapples.
See, my first thought was like fizzy drink cans and like
Ooh.
fizzy bubble gum.
Ooh.
That's the thing that comes in a can.
That is a thing that comes in a can.
Oh, root beer.
Nom, 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 nom.
Fizzy bubble gum.
Nom,
nom, nom, nom.
nom,
Nom nom
nom, nom. Pie in a can.
nom.
Nom, 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 nom.
Nom 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 nom.
Maggie J. Evans asks a follow-up question. Favorite can around a thing?
Oh. Once upon a time, I had one of those cans that was a money bank, where it had like a little hole in the top, but the only way to get your money out was to can opener and open. Conceptually, that was a great can around a thing. In practice, very quickly I took the money out the thing, and that was not a practical solution for me keeping money. But, conceptually, that's a cool idea for savings that I will never be the target market for.
I can't think of a cool can. I quite like the cans that, or the designs of the cans with the pumpkin filling in. Never eaten it.
Yeah.
I just look at them and go,
Oh.
"Oh, I would
ye-
eat pumpkin pie, maybe."
Several years ago at EGX, the game convention in the UK, they were giving out lots and lots of half-litre cans of free energy drink. I can't remember what the brand was, but I remember that it had, like, twist open tops on metal drink cans so that you could close it back up. So you could have your fizzy drink can, you could open it, drink it, and then close the top back up. That was a good bit of can design.
I mean, they're awful for the environment, but those self-heating coffee cans,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
they're very cool, but they are awful for the
Oh, yeah,
environment.
terrible
and
for
also,
the
you don't get
environment,
much
but-
coffee in them.
Yeah, but conceptually, pretty cool.
Michael asks, what would be the signature move of some of the characters you've created?
Signature move of some characters.
I think Barry and Larry would like offer a hug.
Oh, but if it's gonna be a finisher, like maybe it's a very tight hug. Aha.
I think maybe they hug each other, and the power of their love is.
Oh,
enough
is it
to
like a
just
healing buff or something?
No,
or...
I just imagine the power of their love just forces just bad.
You know what it
people away.
is? Their super move is the first hug after they're both fully vaccinated.
Oh, that's going to be a.
They
super
hug
move.
with so much force that that's what blasts everyone back.
Yep, and I think that's going to happen.
The Sherry Ladies, I think, is the I'm thinking of Naruto, where there's the drunken fighting style of Rock Lee. I think the Sherry Ladies, they get so drunk that they end up being able to very effectively drunkenly fight. Maybe.
Okay, like drunken boxing style.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I was going to go with the like swigging from like one of those big old ceramic jugs of sherry,
Oh.
but then breathing fire.
Yes, like the Namba in Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Gonna keep saying animes and things at me
Yeah.
that I've not seen.
That's a character does that in Yakuza.
That's the nurse, right?
Yes, the nurse.
Ah.
Nurse does that. The Electronic Actor Softworks.
I mean, they probably just send interns after you.
I think they'd write a cease and desist, and you'd have to take damage because oh no, I'm not allowed to be in this anymore.
They'd send the lawyers after you.
Yeah.
Like they'd do this whole like the final their final attack would just like all of the power bars fall away, the timer falls away, it turns into like a Phoenix Wright style affair. Their lawyers just absolutely bash you with paperwork.
I was going to suggest they bury you in paperwork, so initially you're moving more slowly on the battlefield until eventually you start taking damage because you are just literally drowning in
Suffocating
paperwork.
from the paperwork. Yeah. I'm trying to think of anyone else.
I think those are the main ones.
The small children that did the
yeah, that's an children.
I reckon they would probably get their teddy bears who are very projective to a big attack and do like, no, you will leave my tiny human alone.
Yeah, and they do very strong attacks to protect the very small humans.
Yeah. I think the stoners probably just blow this big ass cloud that's just like dazes their opponents.
They breathe out their cloud, and something in the cloud attacks the enemy. You don't know what it is. You can have a conspiracy about what's in the cloud. No one knows for sure.
It might be trees. The movie by M. Night Shyamalan. Trying to think of who else we've got.
I think
that's most.
yeah, I think that'll do.
Larry Ellingby asks, but
Of course.
always.
I did a whole book about them. What do you think my answer's going to be? No. You know, but I did write the book on.
I mean,
butts,
they're so
but,
dumb.
been there, done that. You know, it's all about big vampire lady feet right now.
Things I learned from Lady Dimitrescu's toe cleavage. That's book 2 right there.
Things I learned from Lady Dimitrescu stepping on me. I feel like I could get people to buy that book. I don't know what that book would be, but I think people would buy it.
I wonder what size shoe she wears.
Oh, I can't remember.
I've
but,
no
like,
doubt we probably know.
Yes, that is known information.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Wood asks, what is a real or fictional theme park that you'd like to visit?
Real or fictional shoe size? Sorry.
No,
She's-
not shoe size. Not shoe size. Not at all.
She's got 44 centimetre feet, apparently. 17.3 inch
I
feet.
don't know what size shoes that is.
I don't know what size shoe that is, but you know what's roughly 6 inches is? She's got triple that length for her feet. That's pretty big feet. Yes, theme parks we would go to.
Yes.
Sorry, I got distracted by Lady Dimitrescu's feet.
I'm learning more and more about my life on this time.
It's just that I can't read and say words at the same time, you see. I don't know, is there a theme park you'd want to go to?
I mean, I've never been to Alton Towers.
Alton Towers has got some pretty fun rides. I'd be able to go in there. I've been to Thorpe Park before. Thorpe Park was pretty fun.
Probably can't go on most of them now, though.
No, probably not.
Probably pass out.
I don't know. I haven't really paid attention to ones that are not the 2 in the UK.
There's 3 in the UK. Everyone forgets Chessington Wonderful Adventures because it's small and shit.
Well, I mean, that's why I didn't include it. It's small and shit.
It's the only one I've been to in the UK. Like, because it's the closest to where I grew up. Like, it used to be a whole thing that when I was working in McDonald's in Kingston, we had a friend who, like, lived, like, right near Kingston Town Centre. We would all go and crash around his house because his dad was the vicar, so lived at the vicarage. Huge house.
Yes.
So we'd just crash around there the night before, like 15 of us, trawl into McDonald's for like breakfast first thing in the morning, because that's the only time we ever got to eat breakfast. Get on the bus all the way into Chessington, stand outside singing for an hour because we realised we completely fucked up the times with the hangover, finishing the last of our ill-gotten breakfast, smoking a lot, and then just making like the first run of the day to Ramesses' Revenge. which I believe they closed recently.
Probably.
So, I mean, probably. It must have been there a good
Yeah.
25 years, maybe?
Maybe. So, the Disney Corporation is terrible and nonsense and bad,
Mhm.
but there is a little bit of me that if money wasn't a thing, would love to do the Star Wars theme park area there. Like, that seems like a very well made, like, just wander around inhabiting a place that is very deliberately designed to feel like a different place.
I'd be interested to go, but I'd want to go on a quiet day, and I don't think they
Oh.
have quiet days.
I mean, quiet days relatively do exist, but yeah, because like, look, it's way overpriced for what it is.
Yeah.
But like
You're going for the experience, though,
yeah,
right?
the thought of being able to do the thing of like going and doing the build your own lightsaber thing, where you have to go to the person in the shop and be like, "Do you have any kyber crystals?" And they usher you into the back room, and that's where the lightsaber building experience is, and like. That kind of shit is like, okay, that's way overpriced for what it is, but I do find it very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Aha.
Although there are some very cool websites that will build you, like, battle-capable...
Oh, I am aware. I am aware that those things are not worth the money for what they are, but again, it's the experience.
Yeah,
It's the...
yeah, like, I've watched the Outside Xbox, Outside Extra video
Yes.
when they went and built lightsabers, and it's like, that looks fun.
Yeah, that's the thing. I would never be able to financially justify doing it, but like, I think about it and go, yeah, that would be cool.
Mm-hmm. I know, like, I think it would be a fun experience. I imagine I would get there and go, Falcon's smaller than I thought. But like, yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun. Like, I've heard Busch Gardens is an amazing experience,
Yeah.
but again, I think it's another one that I would be like, oh yeah, I can't really do that now.
Oh, the Mario theme park.
Maybe.
I'm intrigued by the Mario theme park.
I'm more curious about it. I haven't seen on a scale, maybe because I've not really looked for it, I guess, but I've not seen on a scale of the Star Wars thing.
There is some. I've seen some videos of some of the stuff. There's some very cool things in there.
Okay.
Perhaps the coolest, the virtual reality Mario Kart ride
Okay.
that involves AR goggles that you wear while you're on the ride, and you're shooting at things while also being in the Mario Kart.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems interesting from just like a multimedia perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't mind, like, I quite like, if money was no object, and, although I could definitely spend that money in better places if money was no object, like, it would be fun to go and visit Disney again. I went when I was, like, 14, and I imagine that a lot has changed. Like, but doing, like, the whole, Universal Florida, and doing Universal MGM.
So, yeah, I did all of that when I was
Disney?
maybe 8 or 9.
Yeah.
I remember little bits of it,
Mhm.
and there is a bit of me that's like, it's such a waste of money, but like, it would be nice to do that again.
Also, like, Kissimmee was a really nice area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember it very fondly, and there's a bit of me that would like to do it as an adult and, actually form memories of it.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing. Like, I say it was a really nice area. We had a really nice place that we stayed because we rented an apartment because apparently it was cheaper than a hotel, and we had like a tiny pool in the back, and obviously you could go in at pretty much any time of day. There's like a 2-hour window. They're like, don't go in, it auto cleans. There was like, don't go out the back because we sometimes get gators in like the communal bit of pond out the back. But apart from that, all I really remember about it is it was very like spread out, open. Like you couldn't walk anywhere.
Yes.
Drive through bank, drive through off license, which just seemed pretty wild to me.
Yeah.
There was a Red Lobster, which I think we went in once. Don't remember what that was like. We went to Friendly for breakfast every day, and I ate a lot of pancakes.
I remember getting donuts for breakfast. I remember donuts for breakfast, and I remember like a handful of rides from being at Disney. I remember the Aerosmith ride.
There's an Aerosmith ride.
There's an Aerosmith ride.
Hang on, so you were 8, yeah?
Yeah,
So
I
this
think
is
it was
what,
called
99?
yeah, 99 I think
Okay,
it was.
yeah.
I think it
It's
was
about 5 years after I went.
the Aerosmith Rockin' Roller Coaster, I believe it was
Amazing.
called. I remember Space Mountain.
Yeah,
I remember the Tower of Terror.
Wasn't allowed to go on that.
No?
Nope.
I remember the Tower of Terror. Both my parents were like, we're not fucking going on it. So I went on it by myself.
Nice.
I got given one of the expensive ride photos for free. Because one of the attendant people was like, you on this by yourself? I was like, yeah, my parents are too scared to come on. So they gave me a ride photo.
Aww.
And I was like, oh yeah, I was brave. I did it.
You did it brave.
I did it brave. And that's almost my entire memory of Disney.
I remember. I think it's World of Tomorrow at Epcot.
Oh yeah.
There's like one bit in that where there's basically an optical illusion. So you're on the little cart just going through
Yeah.
this tunnel, and then there's like spinning
Oh,
laser
yes,
around it. So
yes.
it feels like you're tilting, but you're not.
Yes, I
I went on that like 3 times just for that whole way.
Now that you've mentioned it, I remember this. Yeah, the twisty hallway.
Also amazing because there's no fucking queue for any part of that.
Yes.
And I was like, these weird 1920s dioramas of what they thought like the future was going to look like, and I love all that shit.
That shit's fascinating.
Yeah. And just the fact that it's still like, yeah, it's not very popular, but we've kept it.
I mean, it's a fascinating time capsule.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do the water parks.
Yeah,
But mainly at this age because, like, fuck being a trans person in Florida at a water park.
I mean, yeah. That being said, side note, there is a water slide park in Bournemouth that I keep reminiscing about at the moment.
Yeah.
Being like, there's a bit of me that's like, I could go for a couple of hours of just being on water slides.
We can do that.
Fun?
We can do that.
Yeah, maybe. There's a little indoor water slide park that I just remember very fondly.
I've not been to water slide park since they in the UK since they shut down Water Palace in Purley Way, and I think that was like 25 years ago.
Yeah, I remember like 3 things from it. I remember their very steep slide. I remember sit in the inflatable rings and float down the thing, with some drops and stuff. And the one that's basically those things you put the 2p in and it rolls around and eventually
Yeah.
falls in the bottom. That, but a water slide.
Wow,
You spin around the bowl and eventually fall
Okay.
into a big tank of water.
that's amazing.
I remember those 3 pretty fondly.
I remember there was a purple one. There was like a yellow one that was like much more chill. And
Yeah.
I remember that they had Golden Axe and Firefight in the front. I think they might have also had a Splatterhouse briefly.
Well, maybe post-pandemic we'll do some water slides, maybe. But not in Florida.
No.
So that was a lengthy answer to that question.
Theme parks. Theme parks.
Theme parks.
Yeah, those are the theme parks we'd like to go to. Those are all the questions.
Well then, time for this.
Do you know what I want to see more of?
What do you want to see more of?
Brochure Justice Warriors.
Brochure Justice Warriors?
Yeah.
All right, Larry. Right, Barry. How you doing? Bit better now. I had my first jab the other day, so
I saw.
bit closer to that. That hug.
I heard it knocked you on your ass a bit.
Absolutely knocked me on my arse, mate. I had the shivers so bad I managed to put my back out. It was not
fun.
But
You come out the other side. Yeah.
Came out the other side, in less than 12 hours. So, all for the greater good, really. And
Exactly.
I'm looking forward to my second jab, so we can.
Oh, I know. I'm still waiting on that first one, but it won't be too long behind you.
Yeah, well, and it sounds like you might be getting yours a bit closer together potentially.
Yeah. It's not a certainty, but it seems like I might be getting mine a little closer together. Might be doing a trial for one that's coming up, which might
Nice.
speed me up a little.
Everything crossed for you,
I
mate.
know. I'm hoping that means maybe in the next month to 6 weeks I might be fully vaccinated if all pans out nicely.
Nice.
Yeah. You see today the old
LGBT conversion therapy discussion going on in the UK.
Yeah, I saw a few outlets trying to paint it as they've banned the conversion therapy, but that's not a full story, is it, mate?
Yeah, it's the UK bans conversion therapy with one big fucking asterisk on it. Yeah. So the short version seems to be there are no guarantees that it will cover all groups, be it LGBT people, gay people, trans people, people of various disabilities, like it might not cover things like ABA for autism. There's the whole factor of it being a consultation, which means who knows if it'll ever happen.
Well, I mean, given how they are with other consultations,
Yeah. But I think possibly most concerning about the whole thing is the rumblings and discussions about exemptions to conversion therapy bans.
Yeah, we've heard about, I think religious liberty was brought up as one of the possible options there.
So the two main ones seem to be religious exemptions and exemptions for therapists, which is a problem, because bans on...
Sounds like... Aren't they usually the groups that do conversion therapy?
Well, exactly. This is the thing, is... Most typically, the groups that will do conversion therapy, that will try and force people to not be who they are through torture and mental coercion, which, side note, has been proven time and time and time again to not actually change who people are. It just makes them feel guilty until they hide it.
Yeah.
But, it is typically rogue, shitty therapists or religious organisations.
Yeah.
And those are the two main groups that, when people ask for a ban on conversion therapy, they are largely asking for it to stop those groups doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those are the main culprits that we would like to stop it.
Yeah, so what they're really saying is conversion therapy ban... No, not really. Just kidding.
Conversion therapy ban, except for the people who would do it. The people who would do it can keep doing it, but for everyone else, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it in your house for no reason. Go see a trained conversion therapy therapist.
Yeah, don't electrocute your own children.
Yeah.
You send them somewhere else.
Let the pastor electrocute them,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and pastors have historically been so good at, taking care of people with mental health problems.
Yeah. And look, the one... I hate to say there's a saving grace to them doing a consultation. It's not going to be a good thing, but it does mean that there is potentially some room for shouting about the specifics of this and being loud about particularly making sure there are not exceptions and there are not loopholes that will let some groups do conversion therapy, because you know how that will pan out is parents who want to conversion therapy their kids will go, right, what are the exceptions? Right, we'll take them to one of them to do it.
Yeah, not only, what are the exceptions, but we've also already got ramblings from LGBT Alliance. We're like, well, I can slip in there and just do a what if we still converted trans people, because trans people are a form of conversion therapy.
That's the thing. Conversion therapy bans only work if you ban every form of it. You got to do it all at once, otherwise it is just going to fester and continue to be a fucking problem.
Absolutely, mate.
Yeah.
Virtual luck.
Yeah, virtual luck. Counting down the weeks.
Yeah, counting down the weeks. Hopefully not many more now.
Fingers crossed, fingers crossed.
Oh, I think I'm off for a cuppa.
Yeah, same.
Nice.
Have a good one.
You too, mate.
So, Laura. Yes?
Where can we find you on the internet, darling?
Laura Gamers pretty much everywhere. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Patreon. That's the one that pays the bills. You can find me on Twitch Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays at 10 PM UK, 5 PM Eastern, 2 PM Pacific. You can find episodes of Accessibility every Friday on YouTube. The most recent episode to have gone up when you listen to this will be about Resident Evil 8's level of accessibility. Jane did a very fun job with the edit on this one. Go check it out if for no other reason than to see me shrinking ever smaller while Lady Dimitrescu hovers over me. It's good video.
Spoilers.
I mean, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's very good.
That's the point. Yeah, I suppose it will have already been out by now. Go
Yeah,
watch
it'll have been
it.
out several days already. Go watch it. If you didn't want to be spoiled, go watch it on Fridays when it goes up.
Right.
There's books, Uncomfortable Labels. It's about being autistic and trans. It's out now. Things I Learned from Mario's Butt. It's about video game character butts. It's got reviews and pictures and guests in it. That's out now. Gender Euphoria is about non-cis people's just positive real life stories. That's out on June 10th. By the time you hear this, I will have signed hundreds of copies of it, trying to get ready to send them all out to backers. We're going to get them out to people as soon as possible. It's just the logistics of signing books in a pandemic is time consuming. But as soon as the signed copies are signed, we will get everyone's copies to them. Then there's podcasts. Pixel Squirt, it's about video game character pornography. There is Podquisition, where we tell you whether your favourite video games are great or perfect. There's Dice Funk, which is a Dungeons and Dragons podcast. Every season's its own story, so I'm on seasons 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I do another podcast with you, Jane, that isn't this one.
No, it's Polyamory. It's a D&D 5th edition real play podcast with questionable morals. Yeah, you've just left the town of Felixstowe, I believe, or are about to leave the town of Felixstowe, which was full of tabaxi, because I'm unoriginal in my naming conventions. I also make music under the name Bedroom Programmer. I recently put up a track called Noodle Sandwich. You can enjoy that over on my SoundCloud. I have another SoundCloud just for podcasts. That's got it's got Polyamory and this. You might be listening to this there. And also The Program, which is another thing that I did a little while back. You can enjoy that. I've got a Facebook group, got a Redbubble store where I sell t-shirts that I designed. I write about board games over on stonemonkeyradio.blog. I've got a YouTube channel, I've got a Twitch, I upload, I'm live on Twitch on Thursday nights at 19:30 UK time for about 2 hours. Come say hi. We have a lot of fun. I'm on Twitter. Most importantly, though, Patreon, that's the one that pays my bills. For as little as $1 a month, you can help me justify a 76-hour work week. And maybe if I get enough Patreon backers, I will be able to take even more time off of my day job and actually get around to making more of that music. Whomst can say. That's patreon.com/stonedmonkeyradio. Also, I'm just the easiest way to find all my stuff is streamerlinks.com/Janiac. That's JANEIAC. Laura,
Yeah,
sing us out, please, darling.
until next time, be a stranger.